The initial spoilers for Boruto chapter 17 are out, and we are heading into another very information heavy chapter similar to chapter 16, with of course plenty of insane revelations alongside it. Currently we just have the text spoilers, however as far as I'm aware, the raw scans and fan translations should be coming out soon, so if they do get dropped then I will be sure to cover them on the channel. So if you want to see the full Boruto spoilers once they get released, be sure to subscribe to the channel so YouTube recommends that video once it gets released. Anyways, with that said, let's get into these spoilers. So apparently the chapter starts off with Konohamaru and Shikamaru talking about their plan to defeat Matsuri and Ryu. Apparently Konohamaru's goal is to distract Matsuri, presumably while Mitsuki and Sarada deal with Ryu. Konohamaru then obviously initiates this plan and engages with Matsuri, who apparently starts blushing at Konohamaru. Now this is a pretty insane revelation, as it shows that the link between the Shinju and the target runs deeper than their characteristics and jutsu simply resembling their subject. And it shows here that it even goes down to an emotional level in some instances. But it's clear that this isn't going to be consistent amongst all the Shinju, as Hidari had no reaction to seeing Sarada or even Boruto and simply viewed them as an enemy standing in his way. Subsequently, it's clear that what I predicted a while back, where the creation of the Shinju varies depending on the caster's emotions at the time of consumption, is coming into fruition, where Matsuri is a lot more in touch with their emotions and has more of a consciousness than the other Shinju, whereas Hidari does not, since at the time of his death his emotions were heightened, but maybe not to the extent that it was when Moegi got consumed, and I'll go even deeper into this into the chapter review, as I don't want to go too in depth into theories and things like that based off brief spoilers. But going back to the chapter, we also see that Kashin Koji and Boruto are discussing the mission at hand, where Boruto asks what are the chances of failing this mission, to which Kashin Koji says that they are currently doing well, being so they were able to split up the Shinju successfully, which confirms yet another thing which I predicted, where Kashin Koji's 10 direction Shinjutsu is almost a game of probabilities, where Kashin Koji is constantly working to look into as many futures as possible to determine which conditions need to be met in order to reach the highest likelihood of success, which makes sense and is why Kashin Koji said that even though it's slim, there is always a possibility that certain events can end up occurring. But due to the low probability of success, he tends to take the safest route. But Kashin Koji then explains another thing which I predicted, which is how Boruto cannot enter the fight due to Jura. As if Jura sees Boruto's on the battlefield, he will instantly show up to kill Boruto, and would literally mean that Boruto dies there and then without any means of escaping. And it will also cause them to fail the mission, since if Jura shows up, their chances instantly drop to 0. He also says that they cannot afford to lose Boruto, which is pretty blatant foreshadowing that Boruto is going to undergo a massive transformation that will allow him to get to the level of fighting on equal terms with Jura. I mean, realistically, that just means the jougan is all but confirmed in my eyes. If Boruto isn't strong enough now, but he will be later, then in my eyes that power up might as well just be confirmed. Kashin Koji then asks Ada to look at what is currently happening on the mission, and he assures her that Bug is currently at the Shinju hideout, so she doesn't need to worry about seeing him when she looks at the situation. Which once again, what a surprise, confirms something which I discussed previously, where Kashin Koji and Ada have been communicating for a while now, as Ada can see and provide Kashin Koji with any intel he needs to help him predict and plan for the future, since if Ada tells him what's going on in their current situation, he can know how to counteract certain events, since he will know which future he is in that he has foreseen. So this conversation between them two is showing that this clearly isn't the first time that they have worked together in this way. Apparently the plan is for the 4 shinobi outside of Konohamaru are going to try and take out Ryu, which is an extremely tall ask for them, but if Kashin Koji sees them doing it in the future and hence has sent them out on this mission, then there must be a way they can defeat both Ryu and Matsuri, as this plan is supposed to play out, which is pretty damn insane if you ask me, and kind of says a lot about how busted Sarada's Mangekyo Sharingan is going to be, provided it shows up during this battle at some point. Anyways, apparently Sarada is thinking about what Sumire said to her, and also about hugging Boruto, and Mitsuki picks up on this and can tell that something is bothering her, which aligns with the idea that Sarada's lack of concentration, which was showcased towards the end of the last chapter, is going to have a big impact on the battle at hand. And also going a slight step further, maybe this is where the plan falls apart, where Kashin Koji, due to Sarada being unaffected by omnipotence and also potentially being an outlier in the 10 directions predictions, being so she was able to surpass an even stronger Shinjutsu, this may mean that Kashin Koji can't foresee her being mentally nerfed in this way, causing their mission to be on ropes. And maybe at the time where they're all falling apart, Sarada will use her Mangekyo Sharingan finally and be able to finish off Ryu. Anyways, we then cut to Jura, who's actually in a bloody bookshop and using real Konoha money to buy some books. Now this was our sneak peek panel, so we already knew that this was going to happen, but it's just so funny to me that the writers would actually add this into the story, as it genuinely is such an ironic moment that really adds a layer of depth to the Konoha and Shinju situation, where Konoha have to almost coexist with such a destructive and evil entity, and it really is quite a cool scene, to be honest. Also, just another point, while I'm making this video, there is more information coming out, so do expect another video with the full spoilers coming later. But essentially there was an initial leak that Jura and Damon were going to fight, with Damon saying he wanted to fight Jura to prove that he is actually the strongest, but this turns out to be a fake leak, so if you see that going about, you can just ignore it. And also apparently during this mission, I thought they were going to be fighting the Shinju straight away, however that doesn't seem to be the case since Konohamaru engages with Matsuri in a conversation rather than a fight, hence why Matsuri ends up blushing for whatever reason. Also it seems like Sarada and the others are pretending to be friends of the Shinju and enemies of Boruto, so that Ryu doesn't view them as an enemy and end up fighting them. This is also they can inevitably stab them both in the back, as it's likely that Kashin Koji has made them aware that they cannot beat them in a normal battle, which kind of reintroduces that idea of having a normal OG shinobi battle rather than almost a power scaling off with who is just written to have more strength, as it seemed to be like in Boruto 2B Vortex and Boruto previously. But we also find out that Jura has told the Shinju, or his underlings, that Konoha is actually one of their allies, which is genuinely an insane revelation that I'll unpack further in the chapter review, but this is genuinely one of the biggest moments in the entire chapter, so just know there is a lot to dissect here in the future. Anyways, apparently the chapter shifts to Kawaki, who confronts Amado and pins him to the wall, which is directly paralleling what happened to Amado when he removed Code's limiters. However, the situation is different now, as Amado supposedly didn't have the shutdown command on Code, but we know he does have this with Kawaki. So perhaps Amado will be forced to use that shutdown command on Kawaki, as it's either that, or potentially we see Amado explain why he decided to add these limiters onto Kawaki, which may be linked into the video I did on the Karma V3, which I believe to be Kawaki's next power up. So if you want to see that video, then make sure to click the card at the end of the video, which will take you to that explanation. Anyways, a side message at the end of this chapter was as the Ten's mission continues in the sand, Kawaki finally makes his move seeking power, which honestly, if you haven't checked out the Karma V3 video, go check it out because I covered the concept of Kawaki seeking power in its entirety, all but confirms that it's going to be a big part of what's to come in the coming chapters. Anyways, that's going to be a wrap for this video. If you did enjoy, then please be sure to smash the like button so this video gets pushed out to more and more people. Be sure to comment your thoughts on these spoilers as well as any feedback or stuff you want to add to this video in the comments down below. And if you are enjoying the content at the moment and want to see more Boruto content, spoilers and chapter reviews in the near future, be sure to subscribe, as I'm trying to reach 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year and I need all of your guys' help to reach this goal. Anyways, with that all said, I hope you enjoyed and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.